Welcome to Listen in 3D, episode number 67. I'm Netta,
I'm your boy, Justin Too Tall for You Fool.
and together we're Team 3D. In each episode, we take you on a musical journey as we discuss, dissect, and debate a noteworthy album from the world of hip hop and other genres. If you're a music lover and you want to be a part of this journey with us, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. Uh, do you think this was this artist's greatest work?
For me, I've heard it production wise. I think maybe it's one of his best work, but in terms of my personal favorite, I think this artist had other albums that I liked a lot better. Maybe I was just more attached to him during the time. I don't know, but I guess between if I'm putting my bias aside, I would have to say it probably is his best work. But in terms of my personal favorite from him, nah. I think the next two albums were a little better in my opinion. That's just me. We could agree
Okay.
to disagree on that.
Okay, well, who is this artist and what album are we discussing today?
All right. Today we are discussing the game's commercial debut studio album, the documentary. It was certified two times platinum. It peaked at number one on the top R&B and hip hop album charts, and number one on the Billboard 200. We had singles from that album, six of them: West Side Story, How We Do, Hate It or Love It, Higher, Dreams, and Put You on Game. Um, Four of those singles had music videos: How We Do, Hate It or Love It, Dreams, Put You on the Game all had music videos, and a lot of musical appearances from 50 Cent, Faith Evans, Marsha Ambrosius. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. Tony Yayo, Dion, Eminem, Nate Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Busta Rhymes.
Okay, yeah, two times platinum. In running, he says Dre told me ain't no coming back from gold. So it was like it was destined to be a platinum art album. He willed it into existence. The Game, born Jason Terrell Taylor, was born November 29th, 1979. He described growing up as hell. He also described his mother as a soldier and his hero. Both of his parents were actually Crips, and he grew up in a Crip neighborhood. His mom noted that while their home was in Crip territory, their mailbox was in Blood territory, which was obviously an impossible set of circumstances. And so he went through a pretty rough childhood. He was eventually placed in foster care, and usually they try to keep the children together in foster care, but he and his siblings were split up. When his mom finally got him back 6 7 years later, his mom and his relationship was really different than it was. It was hard to like be apart for all those years and then go back to a normal parent child relationship. He was really like trying to run over her. As for his siblings, he had an older brother who passed away when he was only 13. His name was Devin, and he was also a Crip. He mentions him on this album. He looked up to his brother. Yeah, I thought you were about to say something. He looked up to his brother, Big Face, who taught him how to survive. Big Face grew up in a blood neighborhood, so the game was constantly between these worlds of Crip and Blood. So he lived in a Crip neighborhood, but he was primarily associating himself with his brother and like a whole bunch of Bloods. And he described this in the game, the documentary DVD, as living in a virtual reality because he would come home from associating with the Bloods and he would just come home to like a whole bunch of Crips. So he thought it was kind of mind boggling in that way. He looked up to Easy E, who could go anywhere in Compton. And eventually he would experience the same thing where he goes to a Crip neighborhood and gets a lot of love. And he really appreciated seeing the unity between opposing street gangs. So I don't think it's any coincidence that part of this album was trying to bridge the divide between the East Coast and the West Coast. He was a star guard on the Compton High basketball team, but he eventually stopped that to start gang banging himself. One incident where he was shot multiple times and he thought he was going to die. He mentions that a lot on this album, and he saw his life flash before his eyes and he began to reflect. And that's when he decided to be a rapper. He got his stage name, The Game, from his grandmother, who said he was game for anything. uh, and So in 2001, while healing from his gunshot wounds, he studied seminal albums such as Reasonable Doubt and Ready to Die. And he began to write rhymes that he says were whack initially, but he caught on quick and started developing his skills. He mentions in this album, I've only been rapping a year and a half. So by the time this album comes out, he's been rapping for like two. And so he hooked up with Bay Area rapper JT Bigga Figga for a short stint. And then he ended up with Dr. Dre because he wanted to sign with Dr. Dre because Dr. J was from Compton and he wanted to keep the NWA legacy going. And so that's how we got this album. So, Justin, what are your memories of the game and this album?
Well, yeah, I think when this came out, this was a banger, and I thought he was gonna be, with the Intersoul team for a while, with Dr. Dre, G Unit, yeah, that's represented a lot on here, but unfortunately, due to a falling out between him and 50 Cent, it fortunately, like I think a month or two after this album came out, he was no longer associated with G Unit, and especially with the material you hear on this album, it would have been magnificent to hear him and um, him with the G Unit crew. I mean, it would have been. I think they really could have did some great stuff. But I mean, in terms of when he first came out, he was all over the place. It was a big deal. Like a lot of the stuff was on the radio. Me living in the LA area, you couldn't go anywhere, and just not hear the game song on the radio. So just he was real big. Definitely. If there was an award, definitely like Rookie of the Year in terms of like his commercial debut studio album coming out and everything. And then um, just like I said, I'm not sure. I know I think I may have had this one, but I know I definitely had his next three albums: The Doctor's Advocate, LAX, and the Red album. So I mean, I know I had those three, and then just he's just done so much stuff over the years. I even have one of his other CDs right behind me here, 1992, which he did some years later. So um, just I mean, like I said, I was already an adult, so I mean, I don't have any like childhood memories to him or anything like that. But just uh, great artist. But I don't think and this is just my opinion. I don't think he's like a A-list rapper these days. I mean, I think I would probably put him in the same category as Exhibit, which I mean, which would be like the B category in terms of like rappers, at least West Coast rappers. I know he was like a little mad that he wasn't part of that Super Bowl halftime show that Dr. Dre put together, but I think Kendrick Lamar is above him, at least now. I mean, maybe not then, but now Kendrick Lamar, that guy's a genius. But back to game, yeah, I think he's like in the mid tier now. I think he was a superstar for a minute, but I think his time has passed for that. And it's safe to say I don't think he's like a household name like Snoop or anything like that. So I'm not gonna go that far.
Yeah, if you would have only listened to this album, which, I was immersed in it and I'm like, even knowing now that he's not one of the biggest rappers of all time, while listening to the album, I'm believing him. He's like, for the next 10 summers, I'm gonna be,
Yeah,
and I'm
you
like,
would you
yeah.
would think. I mean, like I said, he had people believing, and like I said, when this album came out, he definitely was on top. But I mean, now, like I said, he's like in the same category as Exhibit, Mac 10, like those guys. Just Warren
Yeah.
G, even just
Yeah, I've heard a lot of his music over the years. I've heard his singles. I recently, even probably a couple months ago, he had an interview on Zeus on a show called the Aunties,
Hmm.
and I watched that, and it was okay. But really, I only knew like his singles.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good work in my estimation. I thought
Yeah.
it was really good, and I mean, if I bought the hype, knowing for a fact he wasn't on top for the next 10 summers, just from me from having been there. I thought it was a really good album.
Hmm.
What did you think about the album artwork?
Artwork. Well, there were two of them, but I'll just go with the main one here. I love his logo. That's one thing I will say about him. His logo, because like a lot of artists, they change their logo from time to time, or like how their name appears on an album. I like how he just went with that, and then if you look at any of his others, it's always been like the same thing. Like, and then that's one thing I love about it. So, I mean, I just want to comment on that in terms of the artwork itself. Just sitting on some what do they call them, Dana's or wheel, yeah, wheels, low rider tires or whatever, and then just him shirt off, dicky pants, Chuck Taylors. Um, just pretty generic in terms of that. I mean, not too much going on. I thought it was all right. How'd you how'd you like it?
I liked it a lot. I really didn't notice the logo, but now that I look at it, now that you say it, it is a really, really good logo. We talked about that with EPMD.
Yeah,
Uh, just something about the continuity of having like the same logo on every album. It's like it makes it easier to follow and more nostalgic. I also like underneath the game, like the font on the
yeah.
documentary, as
Oh
if
yeah,
it's
that
like
was pretty nice. Yeah, yeah,
as if it's written there. And yeah, the tires. I mean, I don't know too much about the West Coast, to be honest, but they do remind you of whatever a Midwest person's
yeah,
conception of the West Coast is. This is it with the chucks
yeah.
and these
Yeah, it's
tires.
it's all yeah, it's definitely all West Coast all over it when it comes to it. I mean if you know your hip hop and regardless of what region of this of the country you're from, you'll be like, oh, this should be West Coast, like or like the Southwest part of the
Yeah,
United States. Yeah,
and
low rider culture is big out here.
I like how stripped down it is. There's not a lot of things going on.
Mhm.
I remember on that Takao album, there was just so much. There
Oh
was like
yeah,
so much, and I'm just like, what is going on? But this is like straight to the point, simple, less is more. So I really liked it.
yeah, definitely. The less is more. He kept it very simple, and then I know the alternate one. I think it's pretty much the same thing, the game, documentary, and then I think it's his son. Yeah, I think it's like his son in that one for the alternate cover. Yeah, like he had just had him, I think so. And that was a special edition cover, but we're just, focusing on the just the regular cover for here for the most part. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up. I didn't even catch that one.
I think it's on the
So
Wikipedia page if you
what about the beats? What beats stood out to you on the album?
Oh yeah, there are so many good beats on here. Um I would have to say all of them are honorable mentions. I don't think there was a beat that I did not like. But if I'm going with the best beat, not my favorite song, spoiler alert, but I really like that beat from Running. I thought that was just like yeah, that was a pretty nice beat. Yeah.
I I think that's a first for you to say every song on the album is an honorable
Yeah,
mention
well, I mean, it was a
as
great.
far as beat goes.
Yeah, I don't think there was a bad beat. So, but if I'm going with my favorite, I mean, I'm not. I don't think there are any ties here. Like at least in my eyes.
I feel you. My absolute favorite was the Dreams beat. Um I
Oh, you
it's
like that
part of it
sample?
is
You like that?
uh, oh yeah, part of it is the nostalgia of it, but it's just I don't know, it's so good. I'm biased for Kanye anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
the other beats I like Headed or Love It, Put You on the Game,
Hate or Love It was a
Running.
really good one.
Running as well for me, and Where I'm From. I thought those are all really good.
Yeah,
Overall, a really a
yeah,
lot of really good beats on the album. It's
yeah,
unsurprising. Every time we do anything with Dr. Dre's, the beats are
yeah,
always amazing.
yeah. And I think that's just anything Dr. Dre puts his hands on. Even if the raps aren't the greatest, the production's gonna be there, especially for all you beat lovers out there. He will make it sound good. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about when it comes to a Dr. Dre production.
Yeah, I think you could honestly just put some complete trash lyrics on there, and it'll still be a good album just because of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's start with the second song on the album, West Side Story.
West Side
Uh,
Story.
what did you think of that one?
I think I love the story that he's telling in this uh in this in the song. Excuse me. Well, one, the beat starts out hard. Definitely like it's like one of those like fight type beats, and then I love the first verse where he goes, Crip niggas, blood niggas, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latin kings, disciples, vice lords, Asians. All these
Oh,
motherfuckers they patiently
been
wait.
patiently waiting.
Yeah, so yeah, um, I just love how he starts it out, and then just telling really the story of the West Side, and then um, yeah, and then if it's one thing I love about 50 Cent on this album, I think he's just so underrated when he does his hooks for just doing hooks in general. He just like you could take a look in my eyes to see I'll be a gangster till I die. That California kinda got me so high. Game tell him where you're from, nigga. West Side. Yeah, so it's just one of the best songs on here, and it's a shame that it didn't have a music video, but I love this song. It's one of my favorites from Game. How'd you enjoy it?
I liked it too. I thought the beat sounded a lot like In the Club, like 50 Cent's In the Club. Honestly, it was a little too close to In the Club for me. I'm just like, why does this why does this sound so much like that? But I too liked how he started it off talking about his diverse fan base and
Mhm.
everybody from Asians, Jamaicans, Latin Kings, and all of that. There was another part of the album where he says, I spit for niggas doing 25 on the fifth year, the white boys in A&F gear.
Mhm.
He just, he's constantly, making an appeal like, look, I want everybody to listen to my music. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, he didn't
Um,
discriminate. That's one thing you can say about about him.
not, not at all, not at all. And I think he even said in that song with Eminem, I'm tired of this race shit. Like he's tired of it. He wants, everybody to come together, which is a
Yeah.
really good thing. And on this song, I like how he's telling like very vivid stories and like these 2 word utterances. He says, all stars, fat laces, gun charge, court cases, fought that, not guilty, I'm back. Then he says, got jacked, got shot, came back, jumped on Dre's back. Like, I really liked his flow right there because he's saying a lot in just these little 2 word utterances. I liked 50 Cent on the chorus, and when I heard him say I don't do button up shirts or drive Maybachs, I definitely remembered, in the 2000s when Jay-Z was always talking about
Mhm.
button up shirts and stuff. So I was like, oh shoot. But later on in the album, he disabuses you of the notion that he's talking about Jay-Z. I'm just like, who else was I guess he's talking about Ja Rule, but yeah, I really liked the song too. It was a great way to kick off the album.
Yeah.
Um, let's move on to How We Do. I'll start this one off. This was honestly one of my least favorite singles. Yeah, I still think it's a
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, it's a classic, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favorite either. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I haven't heard it in years, but I still remembered exactly how it was going to start off. Fresh like I really love how he just started it
Mhm.
off like that. And I liked when he says, I was selling rocks when Master P was saying,
Oh.
And I like how he and 50 Cent kind of complement each other. 50 Cent is more like smooth and the game's voice is more like rugged and rough.
Mm.
And I like when 50 Cent says, "Rich folks do not want me around because it might pop off." I thought that was pretty funny. What did you think of it?
I- it's one of those songs where like the beat gets everyone's attention, but I mean for me it's just I don't know if it's because I've heard it so many times. It's just like yeah, 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 good song. Just nod your head to it, and then it's just like all right, it's over. Let's move on. Like I mean, it's a good song, but let's just a little bit of a secret. It's probably not going back to my playlist, but but I mean, like I said, I think, like you said, I agree. Like 50 Cent and Game, they really complemented each other, and it really sucks that they didn't do more work together after this. Even if he wasn't on G Unit, just them doing work together, period, would have been that was just that was really just slamming it. I think that's just missed money opportunity on both parts, but it is what it is. We got what we got with it, but um,
For sure.
yes.
Speaking of songs with 50 Cent and the game, let's talk about Hate It or Love It. Did you hate or love it?
I loved it. It's great song. Great. I liked it better than the song we just talked about. I mean, one thing I will say is I like the music video. How how they paint the pictures of where they grew up from. With 50 Cent growing up in Queens, and then Game growing up in Compton. I thought that was really great highlight of the music video, and just 50 Cent again. I think he really shines doing the chorus here. Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top, and I'm going to shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go and then game go MV me. I'm Raps MVP and ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me. So just I think they did really good on this one, and just I think for me and Games first, and then the music video too, uh when he talks about his friend Rob getting killed for his Barclays. That's 10 years. I told you, Pooh, in '95, I'll kill you if you try me for my Air Max 95s. Talking about jacking for shoes, and I think it's still a thing today where people jack for shoes. But back then, back in the mid '90s, oh my God, you really had to be careful. Like people would
Jesus.
jacking for your shoes. So, and again, I think it's just painting pictures, and then I also like the third verse where he talks about Pac is gone and Brenda's still throwing babies in the garbage, referencing that song Brenda's Got a Baby. I don't think we haven't done that Tupac album yet. We'll do it sometime down the line, but I like really how he throws back to the people that came before him. You know, so really good song, very great, like old school beat. Great sampling, and Dr. Dre. He definitely made that song sound way better than what it probably could have sounded if an average producer was doing it.
Yeah, he really litters the entire album with like all of his favorites. He shouts out Marvin Gaye, Nas, he shouts out everybody. It's
Yeah,
really impressive, and not only just shouting them out, but quoting them and flipping their lyrics. It's very good. I liked the video too when you see a little 50 Cent, it really looked like 50 Cent too, the
yeah,
little boy. He looked a
yeah,
lot like him. Like
yeah.
I was like,
They
is
got a
this
good
some kind of like
they got a good look alike.
yeah. And it might have been his actual son, now that I think of it, because his son looks a lot like him and
Yeah,
like as an adult.
maybe it was. Huh?
And the game is played by the boy from the brother and Everybody Hates Chris. And I was like, hey, I never seen him that young, but I thought that was pretty cool. I liked 50 Cent's opening verse when he kind of tells his whole life story in that first verse, and he ends it with different days, same shit, ain't nothing good in the hood. I run away from this bitch and never come back if I could.
Mm.
I thought that I love that part. And I like the game's verse when he says, I ain't had 50 Cent when my grandmama died. Now I'm going back to Cali with my Jacob on. See how time fly. I thought that was really good. And I also like when the game says, "Whenever I'm in the booth and I get exhausted, I think, what if Marie Baker got that abortion? I love you, ma." So he's always referencing people on the always referencing his or not always, but he's referencing his mom and women and stuff throughout the album. I thought that was really touching. So I guess we've reached the moment of truth.
The moment of
What
truth.
what were your top three favorite songs on the documentary?
All right, so it's gonna be singles. Some of them we haven't discussed. I mean, with six singles, it's gonna be hard to discuss all of them. But West Side Story, Hate It or Love It, and then the last single I'm going with is Put You on the Game. I mean, I think it was such a great album that it was hard for me to go with any of the deep cuts as my favorites, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I will shout out a few of them. Church for Thugs. I will also shout out the documentary Running because of that fly beat, and then Where I'm From, Special, Don't Worry, and Like Father, Like Son. I think that last song with him and Busta Rhymes was really awesome. So those are the songs I'm kind of just giving honorable mentions to. How about you?
My honorable mentions were West Side Story, Hate It or Love It, the documentary, Running, Where I'm From,
Mm-hmm.
and Start from Scratch and Don't Need Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
My top three, two of them were singles, Hate It or Love It, Dreams,
Dreams.
and Like Father, Like Son.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I don't know where to start. How about put you put you on the game? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
yeah. Put you on the game. All right. So again, like West Side Story, I think the beat just goes. "Dur, dur, 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 dur." Yeah, I think he and I think Timbaland did this beat, so I think yeah he made it sound just incredible, and then just I love the first verse. First things first, aftermath. The chronic is back. This is Endo, produced by Timbo. Game over, nada, NWA chain choker. It's burning rubber inside the Range Rover. Just like how he, just starts it off, and then it's just like your definition of like a West Coast classic, you know. And like anytime I hear it, it's just I just get like nostalgia, like back to that good old time where it's just like, oh yeah, this is this is what the West Coast is, and just kicking back on around your low rider or whatever car you ride around and cruising. It's just a great, nice song to cruise to. So that's what I really got out of it. And then not only that, the dope lyrics also, and then the scenery around Compton also I think was also really good in the music video. So that's what really did it for me in terms of just this song. Just great overall song, and yeah, I can't think of enough in terms of just just the singles overall were just incredible. Fire to me that, like I said, I couldn't go with a deep cut. So any you had any thoughts on this one?
I like put you on the game. The part that I really liked was probably the part that I just remember most. Go ahead, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I really like that part. I didn't know I knew the song until I heard them saying that,
Mm,
and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty good one. Um, the one I'll discuss. This was my favorite song on the album was Dreams. Um,
Dreams.
it's difficult to narrow down everything I love about this song, but I'll try. I love how he dedicated the song to Venus and Serena's sister.
Yeah, at the
I
very
love
end. Hmm.
Yeah, I love how he utilized the sample for the word. Every time he wanted to say dream. I told Vibe magazine working with Dr. Dre was a dream,
Yeah.
and Martin had a dream. Aaliyah, I thought I really loved the way he incorporated the sample. I love how he references his flashback from the shooting when his life flashed before his eyes. He said, "I
Yeah.
had visions of making a classic, then my world turned black like I was staring out of Stevie Wonder glasses." I love how he says he's ready to die, reasonable doubt, and doggy style in one, because I was like, that makes sense to me. Having listened to all of those for this podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, so I thought it was a really good song, and the beat was fire. The beat was
You really like that
amazing.
beat? It wasn't my favorite, but I mean, it's a good beat. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. I really like the first verse where just a lot going on here. It drops just names drops a lot of people. From the albums Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Doggy Style. Name dropping Pac and Snoop, Kanye West, Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston. Like, man, he's just going all over the place on that first verse. Yeah, and there's just the rest of the song too, like Frankie Beverly, Grandmaster Jay, Easy. I mean, the list goes on. And then, I remember when the news reported on the Williams sisters' sister getting shot and killed in Compton. It's just like, oh yeah, that was pretty sad. That was
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that on the news and everything, and it's just like because I think she was older than them too, so that was their older sister, I believe. So it's like they're already famous. I like that whole family was out of the hood by now, but I guess not. So that
Yeah.
was a little
That's something else. Like, to deal with a death you expect is hard. To deal with like an unexpected, kind of freak accident kind of thing is it's completely devastating and paralyzing. So I hope that they've found some peace. It's been years, but
yeah,
it's really hard to find peace with
yeah,
that kind of thing. It's so hard.
yeah,
Um,
definitely is.
my my other favorite song off the album was "Like Father, Like Son." I thought this was such a touching song. It
Mm,
reminded me of how I felt when we talked about "To Zion" by Lauryn Hill on a Miseducation.
okay.
He's discussing how he felt when his son was born, and he first talks about how time passes differently while he's trying to get to the maternity ward. He says, running through the maternity ward, out of breath, sweating. I swear to God, every minute starting to feel like a second. And then he says, my son's ultrasound was the closest I ever been to heaven. And he says, low ride and banging, ready to die, track number one. And this is the intro to Biggie's Ready to Die album, where
Mm,
the dad is so excited that Biggie's born. So I
yeah,
thought
I
it
thought that
was
was
so
pretty cool.
good. Yeah, he incorporates his favorites even in this kind of song. So I thought it was very good. I thought it was also good, seeing as he had such a troubled childhood. He says nose, ears, eyes, chin, just like your daddy. I die before you grow up and be just like your daddy. He has dreams of his son just living a more laid back life and a more peaceful life than he did. And at this point, his son's got to be like in his teens at least. So I'm sure he's accomplished that. So I thought it was a really beautiful song to end the album with.
Yeah, I thought it was a great song to end the album with, and first and foremost, I do got to give it up to Busta Rhymes. He was fire on that chorus. It was a really good chorus, and then just again a lot of references to music he's heard in the past. Bad Boy and even Mariah Carey, Butterfly. Great song. Not one of my favorites, but definitely. Uh, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I just like how he, thanks his, baby mama for, giving birth to, his son and, all that stuff. And, Baron Davis and D Mac, Darius Rogers, the Godfathers, everything. So, um, yeah, great song. Great way to end the album. And yeah, just, the album, really great album. Like I said, not my favorite Game album, but I think he started with a bang and, had things worked out between him and 50 Cent, maybe he would still be at the top of the game. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But don't sleep on this one, folks. That's all I'm going to say about that.
For sure. Did you have any songs that you thought the album could have done without?
um, no, no, none that I can think of. I will say I do want to shout out one of the honorable mentions, though. The song, the documentary. I just gotta shout out the chorus. I'm ready to die without a reasonable doubt. Smoke chronic and hit doggy style before I go out. Until they sign my death certificate, all eyes on me. I'm still at it, Illmatic, and that's the documentary. So kind of reminded me of like what we do on the show. Just great albums from great artists. I know we haven't done Jay Z's Reasonable Doubt yet. We'll do it soon, folks. But I do think the Black Album was a good choice to start off with Jay Z, and we haven't done All Eyes on Me yet from Tupac, but some of these other albums we've done, and I think the documentary can go into that category with some of those albums. So.
A song that I felt like I could have done when I was higher. I really didn't like that song, and
Mhm.
but I will shout out on "Don't Need Your Love" when he's talking about how he was. I liked how he described how he was passed up by the labels. He said,
Yeah.
"I was gassed up, Murder Inc., Rockefeller passed up, sat in Daddy's house with Black Robin, Lou, and Axe Puff." And he also just says, "What the fuck does it take for a gangster to win?" Like he's just shouting to the void. I really like that. Also on the song, the song is ostensibly about like I don't need anybody's love, but he's spreading so much love on that song and throughout the whole album. While he's just saying I don't need any love. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, Start from scratch. I thought that was cool because his voice is actually very scratchy and raspy on
Yeah.
Start from Scratch. And I thought it was really good. He's At first he just says I would keep everything the same. If I could start from scratch, I wouldn't change shit. Same telephone booth, same connect, the same hollow tips breaking up in my chest. And then he goes on to talk about all these things that he would change. If I could rewind the hands of time, I would have turned off the PS2 at
Oh
12:49.
yeah,
Who knew
that was
11 minutes
crazy.
later I get shot with my nine? Yeah. Um, very good. Do you have any other songs you want to shout out from this one?
No, no, that I think I'm good there. Just with all my shout outs.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the album cuts and expansions. There was a special edition bonus track called Till the Wheels Fall Off featuring Mr. Porter. There's also a documentary associated with the documentary. It was on DVD. It's also on YouTube right now. It's really good. I would recommend it.
I'll have to check that out.
Recommendation.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really good. Recommendations: Kanye West, Late Registration, 50 Cent, The Massacre, B by Common. We discussed that in episode 46. Great album.
That was really
Um,
good.
do you have any songs that you're taking back to your playlist?
For me, definitely. Besides, West Side Story. Oh, I'll probably start listening to that a little more. I haven't listened to it in a while, so I'll probably get that back in my rotation. Maybe a little bit of Hate It or Love It, and Put You on the Game, even though I've heard that a million times. And then also just the honorable mentions. I'll probably do, Church for Thugs, the documentary for sure. That was really good. Running, Like Father, Like Son, and Where I'm From. That Nate Dogg. I mean, I know I would have loved to have. Actually, I kind of want to shout that one out too. Yeah, Nate Dogg was fire on that chorus. So yeah, I mean, I would have discussed it more, but unfortunately, didn't make the top three. But so I'm probably taking those back to my playlist. How about you?
I loved Where I'm From too. I specifically liked how he wasn't just on the chorus, he was like throughout it, just like
Yeah,
singing little stuff. I thought that was really cool how he was sprinkled throughout that song. That's my honorable mention too. Now that you mentioned it, that was a really good song.
It was.
Uh, um, and as far as what I'm taking back, I'll take that one back actually, and I'll also take back Like Father Like Son. That was my first time hearing that one. It was really touching. West Side Story, the documentary. Also, I'll take Dreams back just because I hadn't heard that in a really long time, and I
Dreams,
was
yeah.
like, I forgot how great this song was. Um, so I'll be taking that back. Um, do you have any final thoughts on the documentary?
Uh, great album. Definitely check it out if you're looking to get into the games. I was gonna say documentary, discography. This it would be a good place to start. Definitely, it's I would recommend to listen for sure. Regardless of if you're overall hip hop fan, West Coast, East Coast, just I think it applies to everybody for the most part. How about you?
Yeah, I really love this album. Over the past year since we started this podcast, I've kind of come to understand better what it is that I like in an album, and it's really just when an artist bears their soul. Like Ready to Die, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Get Rich or Die Trying, Damn, The Miseducation, Aquemini, G Funk Classics, the Black Album, and Everything Is Love. I would add this one to that list. Like I really did love this album. I like how he's trying to bridge this gap between the East Coast and West Coast, and he's not really putting all these boundaries on who he's allowed to like. And I think he struck the perfect balance of bridging that gap and still maintaining, like, well, Compton is still number one. I'm still representing Compton. I'm still signed with Dr. Dre from Compton, but I still want to, be with everybody else too. I thought that was really cool. Um, he
Yeah,
pays.
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah. I was on. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I was gonna say yeah. He does that later on throughout his albums. Like we just talked about Common right now. I know in LAX he does a song with Common, and he works with like a wide. I mean, he didn't really care, or he doesn't really care where people are from for the most part. Oh, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's perfect for him. Even producing wise, he's got Dr. Dre, Kanye, Timberland. He's all over the place with it, and I think that makes for the best kind of music. Just uninhibited with who you're going to work to, uninhibited with your emotions and thoughts. But anyway, what did you guys think of the documentary? Was it his best album? Was it not? What was your favorite song? What was your least favorite song? Let us know in the comments, and we will get back to you on episode number 68. See you later.
Later.